A great man once said, "A poor workman always blames his tools." That man was Carl Noble. He was my grandfather, and according to Google, he was not the first person to ever share that sentiment. He was, however, the first person who ever shared it with me after hearing me complain one day about the quality of the hammer I was using and its inability to hit the nail that I was aiming for. My pop only went to the 7th grade, but among his many talents was a natural ability to turn a tool, any tool, into an extension of his own arm. That was the thing that made him a true tradesman and a master craftsman. This episode is not about Carl Noble. It is instead about the people who make the tools that guys like my grandfather relied upon, because it's that ability, the ability to produce tools on a mass scale, that is most responsible for this thing we call civilization, and entirely responsible for this episode of How America Works.
Whether it's a pair of pliers or a power drill, a screwdriver, or a circular saw, tools are absolutely central to our existence, not just as Americans, but as a species. They build our homes, shape our cities, and can be thanked for pretty much every man-made object on the planet. That's why, in the U.S., it takes dozens of tool manufacturers to keep our country well-equipped for any job. And these days, with American infrastructure growing like never before, every last one of them is racing to crank out the tools needed to make all that possible. Take Channel Lock Incorporated, for example. Here in western Pennsylvania, this 7-acre facility can easily create some 30,000 tools per day. But with new construction spurring demand, they're now charged with forging and finishing a far more ambitious 60,000 of them by quitting time. And at the leading end of that effort are forgers like Todd Fleet. He'll be responsible for hammering out some 14,000 pairs of tongue and groove pliers, an essential addition to any toolbox. But to hit that kind of quota, he's going to need some help from two of the company's resident robots.
There it goes. About robots is they don't get thirsty, they don't go to the bathroom, they don't eat lunch. Once you get it dialed in, they'll run all day.
Working in tandem, these robots should be able to bang out nearly 600 pairs of pliers per hour. But since that's still not enough to hit today's quota, Todd will have to make up the difference by hand. Fortunately for him, he's well acquainted with the finer points of manual forging.
The billet comes out, and then you put it in a set of dies, and you step on the pedal. Flattener, bender, blocker, finisher. Then when it's done, you take it over, put it in the trim press, die set, and it trims the pliers out, and you throw the excess metal into the flashing hop.
By working alongside the robots, Todd can increase their collective output to more than 700 pliers per hour, which should be just enough to reach their quota. But this being a reality TV show, the odd issue is bound to crop up.
You got a jam in the parking conveyor.
All drama aside, making the tools we need is not easy, because with all the heating, pounding, grinding, and polishing that goes on here, equipment problems really can be a regular occurrence. But when everything works just as it should, each of Channel Lock's newly forged parts will wind up here, in the skilled hands of what are known as lap joint cell operators, or simply put, the people who turn those parts into pliers. People like Kevin Nellis.
It's kind of humbling, actually. I mean, you think about all the people that will touch a pair of pliers that I might have touched, where it'll go. It might end up anywhere. It's just kind of interesting to think about, you know. Maybe I touched that plier.
Most recently, Kevin's working on a kind of plier that will more than likely end up with an electrician, a model designed to cut and crimp wire. But to do that, Kevin will need to give each of them a run through one of Channel Lock's resident CNC machines.
This is where we do all our machining. As you can see, there's no cuts, it's just a blank plier. Load your pliers like this, clamp it, wait for the pressure to come up, and then send it in.
CNC machines like this are among a toolmaker's greatest assets, shaping in minutes what used to take guys like Kevin hours.
That's what they look like when they come out. Cutting edges cut in. This is the crimper nest and the crusher. So then after we run them on the machine there, we come over here to the welder and we assemble them. You lube your joint, put in a rivet. The rough always goes on the top. Now you have a pair of pliers.
Well, a rough one anyway. But to meet Channel Lock's exacting standards, these pliers still have a few steps left to go, starting with a little more shaping.
We're going to go over and grind the sides down to take the rivet off so it's flat. We take it and run it through like so. Smooth on both sides.
And with that, all Kevin has to do now is repeat the process another 49 times. But apparently, that's about 49 more than this machine can handle right now.
The heck? Huh, don't want to run.
Like I said, equipment failures can be a regular occurrence in this line of work. And while Kevin deals with his first of the day, elsewhere in the building, another of Channel Lock's employees is firing up some equipment of his own. Because to make tools, you need tool-grade steel. And the only way to do that is with a furnace and an operator like Josh Mallard.
I have to make sure there's water going in the machine. I have to make sure all my burners are going. That's a big thing, is just check everything, making sure it's running the way it should or it's at the temp it's supposed to be at.
And since the bulk of it happens behind closed doors, here's roughly what the hardening process looks like. First, your tools, comprised of softer steel, are loaded into a 1500-degree furnace, which causes their molecular structure to change for the harder. Then, they're submerged in a 250-degree oil bath, which will lock those new structures in place. Now, you've got hardened steel that can withstand far more pressure than the soft stuff. But before any of that can happen, Josh will first need to get this furnace running on its primary fuel source, endothermic gas, which not only prevents oxygen from causing the tools to rust, but also helps to keep him out of harm's way.
Oxygen in there can be a bad problem with mixing with the endo gas. It could actually cause like an explosion. I've had it explode out top of there, had the whole ceiling covered in smoke.
This morning, however, things seem to be running smoothly. So, with the whole system fired up, all that's left is to add some soft tools.
This is going to be my first load of the day. I like to make sure I put it right up to the furnace. Like I said, I want to keep as little oxygen in this furnace going into it as possible. And it looks like we don't have any alarms, so now it'll be time to put the first load in. So I got to watch it as it's going in, making sure nothing catches, everything's looking good. Alarm going off now.